Call this city council meeting to order. I want to just remind folks who, if anybody's here for the special meeting on filling vacancies, we will take that up after our regularly scheduled council meeting no sooner than 3 p.m. and we will take a 10-minute recess between the two meetings, just in case anybody's here for the vacancy conversation in D8 and D10. Great, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. Today's invocation will be provided by Sister Cecilia with St. Lucy's Church, and Councilmember Kamei will tell us more.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Sister Cecilia was born in LA and is a Catholic nun, member of the Sisters of Holy Name for the last 63 years. She was educated at Holy Names University in Oakland as a teacher and parish minister. As a Spanish speaker, it gave her many opportunities in church leadership on a diocesan, regional, national level with the work of the National Pastoral Plan for Hispanics. This was followed by 8 years as a missionary in Mexico. She also had the privilege of representing her community at the UN Forum for Women in Beijing. During the pandemic, she began to participate in the Silicon Valley Sponsoring Committee through Zoom and became interested in local meetings of the Cadillac Winchester neighborhood through St. Lucy's Church. Please welcome Sister Cecilia, who will lead us in an invocation.
Good afternoon, and a very happy new year to you. Today's theme is change and transition. Change is one constant in our life and work, a series of endings and beginnings. Some endings are sudden, and some are unexpected. Some of these endings come suddenly, and others are planned and come more gradually. Some are happy, some are sad, but each ending gives us the opportunity of a new beginning. This is a new year. We have a new mayor, Matt Manahan, and several council members. You have been elected to serve the San Jose community together amid difficulties and injustices. I pray that you will pay attention to the voices of those most in need. Now, I would like to offer a blessing, not only for you, but for everybody present. And I know that we are from different traditions, so I'm going to ask our higher power in this blessing. So would you breathe deeply 2 times? Extend 1 hand or 2 hands for this blessing. We ask you, our higher power, ever present with us through change and transition, that you bless each one here, especially those that are beginning today and those that are continuing, that they may work together for the common good by listening to one another, being patient, respectful, willing to agree, to disagree, and to learn from one another. Instill in each a vision of the life you intend for all to lead. Guided by you, we will be united in love and joyfully accomplish this mission through your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Cecilia, for that beautiful blessing and the all-important reminder to stop and breathe. Appreciate it. Why don't we move on to ceremonial items? Councilmember Davis, if you'd like to join me to recognize Evan Batista.
Today, we are giving Evan a commendation for his community spirit, for his selflessness, and for the wonderful train he conducts during the holidays. Although Evan has only lived in Willow Glen for 2 years, he has already brought so many smiles and warm memories to families in District 6. There should be a video playing. Is there a video? All right. So as you can see in the videos, Evan lit up many children's faces with joy this past holiday season as he gave them a ride around his family's home on his steam engine. Thank you, Evan, for bringing District 6 closer together and for sharing your love of trains with us. We truly appreciate what you have done for our community during the Halloween and Christmas seasons. I and many District 6 residents hope that you will continue this tradition for many years to come. Mayor, will you please present the commendation? And Evan, if you'd like to say a few words.
So awesome. Thank you. It's really awesome. Yeah, did you want to speak first? Or do you want
Sure.
to say a few words? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you again. It's been a pleasure. I've been in railroading since I was 2 years old, and I've always wanted a live steam engine. So I got this little propane-fired point-out locomotive and restored her, and run it around our house and take it to various clubs, and it just brings a lot of joy. You know, I started it with my own ambitions and interest in it, but it seemed to have branched out, and it's gone to, you know, a lot of neighborhoods in and around the area, and it's great. So I encourage anybody who's around the area, come take a ride on our train. It's a lot of fun and seems to bring a lot of joy. Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Oh, sure, that would be great.
Okay, great. Next, we will be celebrating and proclaiming Tet, or the Lunar New Year, and I'll be joined by Council Members Ortiz and Doan. I'll just say a couple of quick words and then hand it over to my colleagues. And yes, why don't we? Do you want to invite our community members down? Please feel free to join us here. I'll just say, I'm really proud to be mayor of such a richly diverse city. And part of that incredible diversity includes the 180,000 members of our Vietnamese community, making San Jose the city with the single largest Vietnamese population outside of Vietnam, which is really quite incredible, nearly 20% of our city population. It's been such an honor to get to know the leaders of our Vietnamese community, and we really just appreciate the many economic, cultural, and civic contributions of that community, including our council member, Bien Doan, who was the first fire captain in San Jose's history of Vietnamese descent. So I'm going to let my colleagues speak, but just wanted to share that, and thank you all for being here to help us ring in the new year.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Ortiz, to join us to present this proclamation today from January 22nd to January 31st as a Tet Festival that celebrate our diverse culture, especially in the Vietnamese community. And I am extremely proud to present that to our community, to have a representation that is fair and equitable within the city of San Jose with our multicultural. I want to make sure that I invite all of you to come out tomorrow morning on the 25th, January 25th, from 10 to 12, and join us in our ceremonial flag raising, and also enjoying our Tet Festival as well. And thank you again for the mayor and my council member Ortiz have supported this program. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Chuk Mung Nam Moy. My name is Peter Ortiz. I'm council member for East San Jose, District 5. It's my honor to join Councilmember Doan and the mayor to proclaim this week as Tet and bring in the new year of the precious cat. Tet Nguyen Dan is the Lunar New Year celebration of the Vietnamese people, a time to reflect, honor our elders and relatives, and wish each other prosperity in the new year. As many of you know, the Vietnamese community is such an important piece of the fabric of our city, as more than 1 million refugees fled Vietnam in the 1970s, overcoming tremendous obstacles and inhumane treatment by governments and fighting discrimination wherever they went. Well, they found a place here in San Jose. And now San Jose is a proud home to the largest population of Vietnamese families outside of Vietnam. That's something we should all be extremely proud about. We've gained neighbors, friends, and together have created something so authentic to our city. While both the city of San Jose and the country at large have made great strides in countering the long history of discrimination towards our brothers and sisters in the Asian American community, the horrific rise in anti-Asian hate crimes during the COVID-19 pandemic reminded us that there is still a lot of work to be done in this area and to address broader problems in violence in our communities. As a city and as a community and as a nation, we must do everything we can to protect our communities and neighbors from hateful violence. In addition, moments like this become even more important. By embedding cultural institutions like Tet in our local government, we reaffirm what we all know, that the Vietnamese community is an essential part here of the city of San Jose, and that all of us should stand in solidarity with one another for our collective safety and dignity. As we mentioned, as Councilmember Doan just mentioned, I'd love to see everyone here at the City Hall Rotunda for the flag raising ceremony tomorrow at 10 a.m. I want to thank the members of the community for coming here today, and I want to turn it over to the recipient of the proclamation, Mr. Tien Nguyen, President of the Vietnamese American Community of Northern California. The Vietnamese American Community of Northern California serves the Vietnamese American community by preserving and promoting Vietnamese culture and coordinating with local government to promote the diversity of our city and provide the welfare of Vietnamese residents of Northern California. Please, sir. Thank you.
Thưa ông thị trưởng và Hội đồng thành phố San Jose, chúng tôi đại diện cho cộng đồng người Việt tị nạn cộng sản tại miền Bắc California xin chân thành cảm ơn ông Peter Ortiz đã quan tâm về sự hiện diện và đóng góp của cộng đồng Việt Nam đối với sự phát triển của thành phố này. Thời gian vừa qua chúng ta đã có những vị tân cử và chúng tôi mong rằng trong thời gian tới, quý vị sẽ mở ra một đường hướng mới để đưa thành phố vượt qua những khó khăn, những bất ổn để tiến lên thành một cộng đồng vững mạnh, thành phố vững mạnh, và chúng tôi sẽ là những cư dân San Jose hãnh diện đã chọn đúng nơi để định cư, để phát triển và xây dựng gia đình hạnh phúc ấm no. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, on behalf of the Vietnamese refugee community in Northern California, we would like to thank Mr. Mayor and members of the council, especially our new council member of District 5, Council Member Peter Ortiz, who has paid attention to the presence and contributions of Vietnamese Americans in our country. We wish and hope that the newly elected officials will adopt a new direction to quickly address the economic hardships, public safety concerns during the pandemic, and transform our city to a promising land of abundance that we all can feel proud and live in happily and safely. Thank you.
Great. Chúc mừng năm mới to the Vietnamese community here in San Jose. And finally, our third ceremonial item will be presented by Councilmember Cohen.
Thank you, Mayor. And this week, we are going to proclaim Holocaust Remembrance Day here in the city of San Jose. January 27th, this Friday, marks the International Memorial Day for survivors and victims of the Holocaust. It took the lives of 6 million Jews, making up 2/3 of the population of European Jews, 1.4 million Polish people, almost 300,000 Romani people, members of the LGBT community, and political dissidents. Holocaust Remembrance Day commemorates the liberation of Auschwitz on January 27, 1945, and is marked in many ways across the world, including an event called March of the Living, which is an annual event where students walk from Auschwitz to Birkenau. During the Holocaust, millions were sent through these death camps, where they endured forced labor, slavery, medical experimentation, torture, starvation, and the gas chambers. Unfortunately, the Holocaust cannot be viewed in isolation. There have been other instances throughout the history of Jewish people being targeted. such as the pogroms under the Russian Empire, the Spanish Inquisition, and even in our country, the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, where the shooting a few years ago. The depravity of the Nazis is hard to fathom. That's why it's important to continue to read and learn about what was happening in Europe during the 30s and 40s. Last year, I reread Night by Eli Wetzel and read the graphic novel Mouse, and I'm still shocked every time I read more about what people went through during that time. And this wasn't ancient history. This was just 80 years ago. And now more than ever, it's important to keep these stories alive, especially as we once again see a rise of anti-Semitism in our community. When we say never again, it means to never allow genocide in any form. We commit ourselves to remembering victims in Rwanda, Armenia, Ukraine, Bosnia, and anywhere genocide has and is occurring. To commemorate Holocaust Remembrance Day, the City of San Jose is hosting an exhibit in City Hall lobby on a program called Kinder Transport. The exhibit is called Childhood Left at the Station, a tribute to the children of Kinder Transport. It will be in the lobby from today, it was set up this morning, through Friday evening. The exhibit was developed by the Holocaust Museum of Los Angeles in 2018 to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Kinder Transport, which took place from November 1938 to September 1939. Desperate families were looking for ways to protect their young children and willingly separated from them in order to hide them away so they could be evacuated to other countries. Not all countries were willing to allow refugees from Europe to settle in their borders. In fact, the United States had a strong anti-immigrant sentiment at the time, and that meant that very few Jewish refugees were able to settle here. The most recent Ken Burns documentary that just came out last year, The U.S. and the Holocaust, sheds light on how the world often turned their back on those fleeing the Nazis in Europe. The children of Kinder Transport were often the only survivors of their family and had to leave their families at a young age on their own as unaccompanied refugees. The United Kingdom took in nearly 10,000 predominantly Jewish children from Germany, Austria, Czechoslovakia, and Poland, and were placed in foster homes, hostels, schools, and farms. Many never saw their families again. They suffered the trauma of separation from their parents. There are stories of screaming children at railway stations as children were put on trains, not realizing they may never see their parents again. As a parent, I can't imagine being so desperate that I would have to make the decision to send my children away in order for them to survive. So please take some time this week to view the exhibit in City Hall Tower lobby. The exhibit showcases 10 survivors of Kinder Transport and tells their stories about them leaving their homes and their futures after they left. And also join us on Friday at 11 o'clock. We'll be holding a press event in front of City Hall, and we'll hear stories from some survivors of Kinder Transport. With me today, as we recognize Holocaust Remembrance Day, is Jessica Blitchok, who is Associate Director of Jewish Silicon Valley. Their group helps ensure a vibrant Jewish community in Silicon Valley and promote the well-being of all people through leadership, philanthropic support, and programs rooted in Jewish values and tradition. She helped bring this exhibit to us from the Holocaust Museum of Los Angeles. And also with us is a very special guest, Tamar Jacobs, who is a childhood survivor who had to hide in Switzerland during that time. And she'll tell us some of her story before we present her with a proclamation for Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Hello, I'm Tamar Jacobs, and I'm reading a book now, a very, very good book, The Choice. I have it here, could show it to you later. It is written by Dr. Edith Eger, E-G-E-R. She is a psychologist and is 95 years old and is still working. And in a few weeks, I'm going to see her, get to meet her. I am a psychologist and I'm 94 years old. But that's where everything changes. So I was born in Germany. When I was 3 years old, my father got exiled to Switzerland because he was a freethinker, a Jewish freethinker. He got exiled to Switzerland, where things weren't too bad at the beginning, but later he got interned in concentration camps. Most people don't know that in Switzerland they had concentration camps. And they didn't torture them, they didn't kill them there. they were closed. Had electrified barbed wires around. I mean, it was just, they weren't free. He got freed very late, much after the war. In the meantime, I grew up in Germany. I was in Cologne, and there was a little neighbor boy, Hänschen. Hänschen is like Johnny, German word. Little Hänschen was half my age, tortured me. He abused me. He called me bad names. He cursed me. He called me dreckige Jid, which is dirty Jew. He threw rocks at me and hit me with sticks. I was deadly afraid of that little kid, even though he was half my age. But his parents were in charge. They were the SS, they were the Nazis. When I asked my mother, could she help me? No, she couldn't, because they were powerful. They were the powerful Nazis. She couldn't tell that little 3-year-old boy to stop throwing rocks at me. I was really afraid by this bullying little boy. And even though effectively he couldn't really hurt me a lot, I mean, he hit me with rocks, but that's not torture like in the gas chain, like in the camps. So the daily abuse luckily didn't last very long, just a few months, which was too much for me, because then I left Germany and went to Switzerland. But even though it didn't last that long, and it wasn't really bad compared to what happened in the camps, the tortures, it was not that bad. For me, it was very bad. I was traumatized. I became timid and unassertive. I started disliking boys. I became ashamed of myself. How did I allow myself to be tortured, traumatized by a kid half my age? Of course, it wasn't him alone. It was the people who are behind him, the Nazis, his parents, the whole Nazi party. And I mean, the fact that this affected me like this, it sounds unreasonable, but really when something happens to a person at that age, at an impressionable age, that's what happens. It makes us lose our self-esteem, our dignity, and it affects us, even though the trauma was not enormous as compared to others. But it affected me. As I said, that's where the similarities between Dr. Edith Eger and me ended, just by our age and our profession. She was from Hungary. She was sent to Auschwitz at age 16. Then she went to a few other camps. She was in the death march and several death camps. She was starved. She was exhausted. She was freezing. All the things that we know that happened in the camp. She was humiliated. And at the end of the camp, at the end of the war, they found her barely alive in a pile of corpses. She was lying among corpses, and they thought she was dead too, but then a soldier found that she was still a little bit of life shimmer in her. She struggled for decades with flashbacks and survivor's guilt, and she wouldn't talk about it. She wanted to hide from the whole thing. She never mentioned it. She pretended it didn't exist. All her torture. She just didn't want to talk about it until she met Dr. Viktor Frankl. Many of you know who he is, who he was. a famous psychiatrist, writer, doctor, philosopher. He changed her completely. He told her that he gave her permission not to hide anymore. He helped her find words for her happenings, for her experiences. He helped her with the painful torture. He helped her talk about it, cope with the pain, cope by talking, by thinking about it, not by evading it, not by hiding from it. And he also taught her to accept and love herself for who she is, a human being, imperfect but whole. Dr. Frankl asked, what is the meaning to all our torture, to all our suffering? There must be a meaning. What can we learn from it? And she learned that those painful experiences don't have to be liabilities. They can be gifts. We can look at them as gifts in a certain way. If we have years of philosophy and psychology and treatment. He taught her all of those things, and it helped him survive. He was also a survivor of camps, of many camps, for years. And that helped him survive, and he taught her these things. He wrote many books, the most famous of them being Man's Search for Meaning. I recommend it to read for most of you, all of you. They did a survey a few years ago among the most important books in America. And this book was one of the 5 most important ones, Man's Search for Meaning. So, through his mentorship and friendship, she learned how to survive. She discovered a purpose in her suffering and a sense of meaning that helped her not only with her past, but also to emerge from her trials with something precious, worth sharing, a path to freedom. She used her knowledge and her suffering and what she got out of the suffering. She sees patients, clients who had terrible traumas, and the United States government asks her from time to time to speak to soldiers who come back from some very traumatized in Vietnam and so on. She talks to soldiers, to officers, and helps them overcome their traumas. Freedom is accepting what is, also forgiving ourselves. She learned many things from him, but it took her 35 years to heal from all her traumas. 35 years. That's how bad it was. Now, everything can be taken away from a person but one thing. The last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given time, in any given set of human freedom, human circumstances, to choose one's own way. That is the freedom, to be able to choose one's way. Even if you take everything away from you, you can still decide how to respond. We can't choose to vanish the dark, but we can choose to kindle the light. Choice is everything, and choice is always there. Each moment is a choice. No matter how frustrating things are for us, how horrible, how boring, how tormenting, you can always choose how to respond. You can always choose how to respond. That is freedom. We don't know where we're going and we don't know what's going to happen, but nobody can take away what we put in our mind. That's ours. Nobody can take that away. You can't change what happened. You can't change what happened to you. You can't change what you did. You can't change what you did. You can't change what was done to you. But you can always choose how you live now, how you live now, how we live today. We can choose that. And this is what I learned from this book by Dr. Edith Eger. And I recommend the book. And I want you to remember your freedom to choose how to react, to choose how to answer, to choose how to respond.
All right, thank you, Tamar. And Mayor, come on over and present the proclamation declaring Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Okay, I want to thank my colleagues for today's ceremonial items. We are on to the orders of the day. Does anyone on the council have any changes to the printed agenda?
I have a change on the consent calendar when we get there.
Okay, and we'll take that up when we get to the consent
Yes.
calendar? Okay. Okay, thank you. Not seeing any hands, so I know Councilmember Torres would like to adjourn today's meeting in memory of Ken Pogorsky Pogorsek of the Nagley Park Campus Community Association, who passed away on December 25th of last year, and Councilmember Torres will tell us more.
That language is not in here. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. We do have Ken's wife here, Farrell. On December 25th, 2022, our community lost a true neighborhood advocate and hero, Mr. Kenneth Podgorskek. I've been practicing and I didn't know, I have no idea how I messed that up. Podgorskek. Ken's passing is a huge loss for Nagley Park, District 3, and our city. As a neighborhood organizer, Ken was instrumental in guiding us and making sure we were fiscally responsible with our taxpayers' money, organizing anti-litter days, dumpster days, and neighborhood events like National Night Out. He served on numerous citywide committees and task force beginning in 1987 and continuing for the next 30-plus years. He served on the Town and Gown Committee, Greek Life Task Force, the Strong Neighborhoods Initiative, the Sunshine Task Force, the SJSU San Carlos Street Closure Committee, an environmental task force for the city, and he joined the board of the Campus Community Association, serving as president, treasurer, and bookkeeper. His greatest pride was his role as Big Dog, of Bark in the Park, the largest dog festival in the United States with more than 15,000 dog lovers across Northern California coming and 3,900 dogs. Cute little doggies. I've been there. You all been there. Super cute. Ken was a busy guy, but his sense of humor and outgoing personality is what helped people form a connection with him and work together. And for those who did not live in District 3, Ken was an incredible executive director for the United Neighborhoods of Santa Clara County, where he mentored so many neighborhood leaders, including myself, organizing our neighborhood associations or community events. I hope that Farrell, his wife, and his children, Rachel and Will, who couldn't be here today, find comfort in knowing he was a hero to so many, including myself. Rest in paradise, Ken. We shall miss you. Thank you for all your years of service and your mentorship to a lot of neighborhood leaders and activists. Farrell.
Thank you, Councilmember Torres and the council for this honor of adjourning today's meeting in Ken's honor. We moved here in 1986. Ken grew up in Campbell, but we were out of the area for college, met and moved to Negley Park in 1986, buying our house there. Within a year, Ken became involved in the community, following in the legacy of his father, Bill Podgorsk's footsteps, who was on the city council and mayorship of Campbell for over 20 years. Ken's life focus was really giving back to the community. The co-owner of Spartan Printing with his parents, he started working with a lot of nonprofits and became involved in so many organizations, always giving his time, his energy, and whatever support he could to help develop leaders in all of our communities. He found multiple ways of doing that throughout the city. Some of his greatest pride was working with the grantees in the neighborhoods that were less served, helping them because their struggle was a little greater in overcoming the burdens of writing up grants in order to better their communities. He leaves behind a huge, huge legacy, and his dream was always to get everybody, as he said, up off your couch and doing one thing to get involved to better your communities. He exemplified that, I would say, to an extreme. I don't necessarily encourage anybody to do quite as much as Ken did over his many years. But if all of us just get involved in one way and do one thing, it's amazing the changes that we can see in our lives, in our families, our neighborhoods, and the entire city of San Jose. So again, thank you very much for the honor.
Thank you, Councilmember, and thank you, Farrell, for helping us celebrate Ken's life and being here today. And I'm sorry for your loss, which is a loss for our whole community. Thank you. We will move on. I'm sorry, do we need to vote on orders of the day?
No,
no.
Not
Okay.
if there's no changes.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So then, thank you. We'll move on to the closed session report.
Thank you, Mayor. We do not have a report out of closed session today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Nora. And with that, I believe we're on to the consent calendar. I know I'm pulling item 2.5 to give a quick report. Are there any other changes?
Item 2.2B, ordinance 30870 was actually passed on second reading last meeting and was included in this agenda in error.
Okay.
So it's already passed.
Okay. Great. Any other items being pulled? Okay. May I speak on 2.5 now? And then we'll, I assume, vote on that separately?
Yes. Well, you can just make a comment, and if you can still be part of all of the consent, because this is that.
Great.
Sorry, this is a travel report. You're just reporting out on
Yeah.
travel. You don't need to.
We
vote
don't
on
need
it
to vote separately. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Well, if my colleagues are okay with that, then I will just give the quick report out. So as I think you all know, I attended U.S. Conference of Mayors last week for 2 days in Washington. It was a brief but action-packed trip. I think I had about 10 meetings each day, about 20 meetings in total. Really, I think the primary value of being in Washington for U.S. Conference of Mayors is connecting with administration officials as we are applying for federal funding for critical transportation projects. as well as learning more about the money available through the CHIPS Act and making sure that we are setting up our intergovernmental relations team to put forward the best possible applications to capture those federal dollars. I also represented the city on 2 panels involving recent innovations in the city of San Jose, showcasing our work, including our gun violence harm reduction ordinance and gun harm reduction ordinance and our wastewater monitoring during COVID, and then had the opportunity to have one-on-one meetings with the mayors of Los Angeles, San Diego, Sacramento, Phoenix, Cleveland, and Kansas City to gather information about how they're addressing critical issues such as public safety and homelessness, and had our city intergovernmental relations team in those meetings to also take notes and make sure we're learning where we can and bringing those learnings back to San Jose. We also joined the meeting of mayors and CEOs for housing and investment and reaffirmed our city's commitment to being a pro-housing community. And finally had an opportunity to sit down with Results for America and AmeriCorps to talk about ways that we can leverage their resources, including through AmeriCorps, what may be a couple of hundred paid jobs for youth that are still available in our community, which I think is a very promising opportunity that we'll be sure to follow up on. I want to thank Zane Barnes from the city's IGR team, Leslie Polner from Holland and Knight, our consultant out in DC, Sarah Sarate, and Ryan Coonerty on my team, all of whom made sure that the trip was action-packed and substantive, and that we're bringing back a lot of great connections and follow-up items. So that is my report out. And unless there are any questions, I think we're ready to entertain a motion on the consent calendar.
Move approval.
A second.
Great, thank you. And public comment?
Paul Soto?
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. My comments are regard to these minute orders, specifically the racial equity minute orders. Look at the time delay, look at those dates. Why the city is okay with that much time being taken to prepare a minute order is not okay. It's not okay, it's actually offensive to think that you could just, we'll just produce these at any time. Those meeting orders are particularly important for researchers, myself being amongst them, because we examine those minute orders and then we compare them against what actually happened in the meeting. And I have to tell you that when you do that, it's disgusting to see the contrast between what is on those minute orders and what was actually said inside the meeting. So we need to start addressing that. These are legal documents. There is no way that I would ever thank this city for anything that is said within the context of a racial equity meeting. I may thank somebody for the report, but I'm not going to thank the city. Context of what we just heard from the senora with the Jews. I would love it if we talked about the California genocide, but we can't, can we? Because the entire basis for the power that's being exercised today by all of you is predicated upon that genocide. So we can't talk about that. And that's what that meeting was about. That meeting, the reason why we have a racial equity policy, and the reason why I chime in at these meetings is so that my objections are reflected in those minute orders. If you do not put in these minute orders my objections, the history will look back at this time and not see any objections to the policies that you've made. That in itself is a crime against.
Back to the council.
Thank you. Can we vote, please? Okay, great. Thank you. Moving along to item 3.1, report of the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have a report today.
Great, thank you. Item 3.3, appointment of the vice mayor. And I'll go ahead and just say a couple of comments before we take public comment and entertain a motion. I'm very happy to be recommending Councilmember Rosemary Kamei for the role of vice mayor. In our conversations in recent weeks, I've really been impressed with Councilmember Kamei's track record of public service, deep connection to the community, and real desire to bring our council together to get away from unnecessarily divisive politics, but really focus on problem solving on the big issues that affect everybody: public safety, homelessness, blight, housing affordability, traffic, those big issues that impact all of our lives. And I just know Councilmember Kamei as Vice Mayor will bring our council together, help us be incredibly constructive and productive, and I have no doubt that in the spirit of former Vice Mayor Chappie Jones, she will also run one efficient and productive meeting. So with that, very happy to bring her forward, and would love to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Why don't we go to public comment before any other commentary?
Paul Soto?
Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Welcome, Vice Mayor Kamei. I know nothing about you on this level. I don't know how much you know. However, I can tell you for a fact, I've been here for 5 years, Monday through Thursday, 5 years. So I have a lot of institutional knowledge that you don't. So I look forward to being able to work with you. I will give you the benefit of the knowledge and experience that I have as a son of campesinos from Sasipuedes, as a Diego de Alcalá. I am a Cumie Dueño, and I'm also a Chicano. I have an institutional, intellectual understanding about what has happened here in San Jose. This is not opinion, this is fact. So I welcome, like I said, I was very impressed by what you had to say at the last meeting, because you asked the exact kind of questions that I was asked if I was in your position. And what that means is that you truly are a representative of the people. When a public commenter can say honestly in his own mind that, hey, if I was there, I would have asked that same question. That means that the people are truly being reflected, regardless of your district. You represent Sanjo, period. I don't care what district you're in. District 1, District 10, District 5, doesn't matter to me. I'm a Sanjonero, period. And so I look forward to being able to work with you and to have the benefit of the knowledge that I'm going to be able to provide in my commentaries here at these meetings. But I'm also going to caution, you have to be ready for a fight. This is a fight. This is not for people that are just going to willy-nilly, oh, well, let's just move on. Next thing. We have to ask the very direct questions, and we have to demand answers, and then the follow-up question. So
Back to council.
Great, thank you. Looking at the speaker list here, and I see, and I apologize for asking for a motion out of order there, but Councilmember Ortiz, I think I see your name up first, if you want to go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm so excited to see my good friend and continuous colleague, Councilmember Kamei, be appointed to the role of Vice Mayor. From our time together on the Santa Clara County Board of Education, I've gained valuable insight into her leadership style and an ability to move forward policies that positively affect the well-being of this community. She has critical experience in building consensus within governing bodies, a willingness to listen to all perspectives, and the ability to stand strong with her convictions. Her commitment to the public and her district shines strong. It's also thrilling to see the Asian and Latino representation that she brings to the council and to the seat of vice mayor. Her diverse cultural background and lived experience puts an incredible worldly perspective that informs her decision-making. Little girls of color in San Jose will see themselves in Vice Mayor Kamei, something that, as people of color, we know is extremely invaluable. Her presence alone stands as a testament to the diversity of this city. And as a Puerto Rican myself, it's incredible to see our community make it into this level of politics here in Santa Clara County. To conclude, congratulations to Councilmember Kamei and now Vice Mayor Kamei, and I joyously second the approval of her appointment to Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilmember. Councilmember Torres?
Councilmember Ortiz knows how to play Jeopardy with these buttons better than anybody else up here. But I just want to wish, my newest colleague, It's been a pleasure serving with you already for almost a month. And so I'm also super excited that you were chosen as our next vice mayor. And I'm just looking forward to working with you and making sure that you're going to reteach me my Spanish again. So super excited because we've been having conversation in Spanish already, so I can relearn. So thank you, Vice Mayor.
Awesome. Thank you. Great. I think we are ready to vote. Awesome. That was easy.
Motion passes unanimously.
Congratulations, Vice Mayor. Would you like to say anything?
I'm going to keep it brief. I am privileged to be here and serve the community. I will do my best as I move forward. And many of you that I know, we will work very closely together. Those of you who I don't know, we will work very closely together to make San Jose the best place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Congratulations. All right, we are on to 3.4, Firearm Regulation Audit Report. Do we want to begin, Joe, or are we waiting on
I know.
this to
waiting
go
for
full
the slides.
screen?
So good afternoon, Joe Roy, City Auditor. I'm here with Gitanjali Mandrakar from my office to present our audit, firearm regulations. The city should update procedures around gun violence restraining orders and firearm business inspections. I'm also here with Lieutenant Steve Donahue and Lieutenant Jason Kidwell from the Police Department. Abella Obi and Adrian Perez from my office who also worked on it are here in the audience. Keep going. Hopefully the slides will catch up to us. So firearm deaths from all causes, including homicide, suicide, and unintentional deaths or accidents totaled over 45,000 in 2020 across the United States. In California, the number of firearm-related deaths was 8.5 per 100,000 residents, lower than the overall national rate of 13.6, and lower than most other states. In San Jose, the figure was 5.1 deaths per 100,000 residents, lower than both the federal or state rates as well as the rates in other large California cities. Federal, state, and local laws regulate the possession, ownership, use, and sale of firearms, and the San Jose Police Department, or SJPD, enforces these laws in San Jose, including investigating and making arrests for firearm-related offenses. The department also initiates or processes gun violence restraining orders, or GVROs, that temporarily remove firearms from individuals who pose a risk of harm to themselves or others. The department also regulates firearm dealers and issues concealed carry weapons permits. At the time of the audit, the city was working to establish procedures around new regulations requiring gun owners to obtain and maintain liability insurance and pay an annual gun harm reduction fee. The objective of the audit was to review the city's firearm regulatory processes and policies, including a review of trends in firearm violence in the city. The audit was requested by a council member. So we had four findings. The first was that firearm-related incidents have increased in the city. From 2017 to 2021, firearm-related incidents increased by 25%, from 990 incidents to 1,240. There was a dip in 2019, as you can see in the graphic, but subsequently the number of incidents had increased. The prevalence of firearm-related crimes varies across police districts, with some districts having seen far more than others. Over 80% of firearm-related incidents between 2017 and 2021 were in police districts L, C, X, and P in Central and East San Jose. Districts V, T, A, and E saw the fewest incidents over that same period. Aggravated assaults and robberies made up over 70% of crimes that involved a firearm. The largest increase in 2017 was in the broad category of weapon-related incidents, such as illegal possession or carrying a concealed weapon. Finally, the city has seen a significant increase in the number of privately made firearms, sometimes referred to as ghost guns. In 2021, the department submitted 168 to the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Crime Lab for processing. In contrast, in 2015, they had submitted just one. The second finding is that state law is the primary authority for regulating firearms in the city. And while the California Penal Code is the primary authority for regulatory purposes in the city and is stricter than federal regulations, the city's municipal code does provide additional regulations regarding licensing firearm dealers, storing a firearm in a residence, and other requirements on owning or possessing a firearm in the city. And as noted earlier, local law enforcement agencies, such as SJPD, generally enforce state and federal firearm laws. Currently, 2 sections of the San Jose Municipal Code conflict with this California Penal Code governing firearm sales. And while state law prevails in the instances where there is a conflict, we do recommend the Muni Code be updated to better align with state regulations. The third finding is that the police department should update internal procedures and conduct outreach on gun violence restraining orders. So the city, like other jurisdictions, can use gun violence restraining orders, or GVROs, to remove and prevent purchases of firearms from individuals who are found to be a danger to themselves or others. There are 3 types of GVROs. There's Gun Violence Emergency Protective Orders, or GVEPOs. These can be served by law enforcement officers after approval by a judge, and these orders last 21 days. There's also temporary ex parte orders, which can be requested by family members, educators, and others in addition to law enforcement. Applicants must apply in writing in family court for one of these orders. There's also order after a hearing, which are shown in the graphic as simply GVROs. These are issued by the court after one of the temporary orders and can last from 1 to 5 years. Since 2018, the city has filed over 280 orders, and overall the number of GVROs issued in Santa Clara County is the second most among large California counties, with San Diego County issuing the most. The current process for these orders involve multiple parties, including the police department, the city attorney's office, as well as Santa Clara County and the courts. The department's, San Jose Police Department's duty manual defines procedures for GVROs, but currently does not accurately reflect current practice or differentiate between the different types of orders. Also, unlike some jurisdictions, the city does not have publicly available information about GVROs on its website, and the city does not conduct community outreach on such orders. So to improve the GVR procedures and community outreach, we recommend that the department update language in the duty manual to reflect the different types of GVROs and develop procedures on the current process for each, and incorporate information about GVROs into its community outreach efforts, including posting information on the city's website, as well as make information available in multiple languages. The fourth finding is the police department can provide increased staff guidance and supervisory oversight for regulating firearm businesses. The department's permits unit regulates firearm businesses for compliance with the municipal code. However, the unit can improve guidance on inspections by defining documentation requirements, expected frequency of inspections, and compliance guidelines. We found that there were inconsistencies in how staff reviewed firearm businesses for compliance, and staff did not always document compliance with all Muni Code requirements. Lastly, the permit fee for firearm businesses may not be fully cost recovery, as an assessment of actual time spent has not been done for quite some time. So to improve the inspection process, we recommend the department develop procedures to document inspection expectations and revise its inspection checklist, and reassess actual time spent on inspections. The report has 7 recommendations to improve the city's processes to regulate firearms. We'd like to thank the San Jose Police Department, as well as the City Attorney's Office and the City Manager's Office for their cooperation and insight during the audit process. I ask that you accept the report, and I'll now turn it over to Lieutenant Donahue for the administration's response, and we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Steve Donahue. I'm the Commander of Research and Development at the San Jose Police Department. I'm accompanied today by Lieutenant Jason Kidwell from our Permits Unit, and present in the audience is Deputy Chief Executive Officer Ed Schroeder and Sergeant Keith Newmer, who's currently assigned to the City Attorney's Office and is responsible for gun violence restraining orders. The department would like to thank City Auditor Joe Royce and his team for the audit on firearm regulations. As you can see from our response beginning on page 49 of the report, the department has greenlit all the recommendations from the auditor pertaining to the police department. And in addition, the City Attorney's Office has greenlit the recommendation to update the municipal code to align with the California Penal Code. We look forward to implementing these changes to increase oversight and provide the community with key information on gun violence restraining orders. I'd like to mention something that was brought up at the Public Safety, Finance, and Strategic Support Committee on December 16th. We'll be expanding the term domestic violence that's used throughout the audit report to apply to all gender-based violence, including sexual assault and human trafficking. And now I'd like to take a moment to address the 3 recommended additions to accepting the report submitted by Councilmember Torres and Councilmember Ortiz. First, regarding gun violence restraining order information being multilingual. Our language access plan ensures that the members of the public have access to the police department in the language of their choice. If we don't have a department member on duty that speaks the language that they are requesting, we use technology and immediately available translation services to ensure that they have ability to communicate with us. Our department website translates into 133 different languages. On January 10th, we distributed new Sexual Assault Survivors Bill of Rights cards in the 4 predominant languages in San Jose. And this is in addition to our Marcy's Rights card that is provided in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Hmong, and Russian. All of these integrate to show our value on ensuring everyone has access to their police department and its resources. And we'll continue this as we translate GVRO information on our website, and we add the additional information in our main lobby. And second, regarding working with advocacy groups to disseminate restraining order information. As I mentioned, our new Sexual Assault Survivors Bill of Rights card was released on January 10th, and that has the most up-to-date advocacy group information in the county. These are provided to survivors of sexual assault in every case. We also work collaboratively with the YWCA, Community Solutions, Next Door Solutions, and the Asian Women's Hope advocacy groups. We provide resources on signage in our main lobby, at the Family Violence Center, and online. And we also provide legal resources to access restraining orders and ex parte gun violence orders on our website. And third, regarding the request to return with a breakdown of firearm-related incidents. This is going to take us a few weeks to collect. We don't have the information readily available to us on our website, and we are going to analyze and present the information to council. We are asking council to allow us to provide this in an informational memo in our response. So I'll finish with this. In April of last year, a 43-year-old male was fired from his job at a construction site in San Jose, or construction company, sorry. He began putting negative reviews about the company online and harassing his former coworkers. So he was arrested for stalking, but due to the threat level, the officers got a GVRO. He was found to be in possession of numerous firearms, including an illegal assault weapon and privately manufactured firearms, also called ghost guns. This GVRO likely prevented a workplace shooting. On September 20th of last year, a 41-year-old male was contacted on a domestic violence call in the area of McLaughlin and Umbarger, in which he threatened his wife with a handgun. The suspect was taken into custody, and the officers obtained another GVRO. When the search was conducted at the residence, officers discovered a huge cache of weapons and ammunition, including ghost guns, illegal assault rifles, and machine guns in various states of assembly. In total, 49 firearms were seized and hundreds of firearm precursor parts from that house. And this GVRO likely prevented numerous other shootings in and around San Jose and a domestic homicide. So these are just 2 of the several examples of the cases that we've used GVROs to seize firearms from dangerous persons. Now, while admittedly there is still work to be done, we pride ourselves on the fact that we obtain more GVROs in San Jose than any other agency in Northern California. And we commend our officers for having the foresight to recognize the potential in these cases and protect the public. And now we're here for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, Lieutenant. Appreciate that. Why don't we go to public comment?
Paul Soto?
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I don't appreciate what you just did, Lieutenant Donahue. because you had probable cause to go inside that man's house just on the domestic violence call itself and the fact that he had a gun. You didn't need the GVRO. So I don't appreciate you coming in here and giving that kind of conflating those issues and giving that false information. You had probable cause just for the charge. The GVRO had absolutely nothing to do with it. That's number one. As a matter of law. Number two is that people that die gun violence is by suicide, 45%. 45%, which is the largest segment, dies of gun violence. Suicide as use crime statistics in order to argument. But GVROs are only applicable to people that buy their weapons, that are responsible gun owners. That's what it is. Because if a person has a gun illegally, you already have cause to go in there. If a wife or that gun is not registered, you already have probable cause to enter the residence to get the gun and to arrest him. You know that. That is a matter of law. GVROs only apply to people that are responsible gun owners. They're not the ones that are committing those crimes that you use statistics in order to support your contention. Stop doing that, Lieutenant Donahue, because you're going to have a citizen like myself that knows the law that's going to come in here and challenge you on that and embarrass you in the department. Quit doing that, because I'm not going to stand here and allow you to do that. There are people that are dying and there are people that need help. And those are people that have committed suicide and used their own guns to do it. Use the GVRs. That's not the issue. But if you're...
Back to the council.
Thank you. I'd also like to remind public speakers that comments should not be directed at any member of the council or staff. Please direct your comments to the body as a whole. I apologize for just recognizing that now. Okay, we're on to Councilmember Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to begin my comments by thanking the city auditor as well as the hardworking staff here for your thorough report. I had the pleasure of meeting with them earlier this week and gained a better understanding of the work that you do, and appreciate your effort and the effort that you put into these reports. So thank you so much. With thousands of gun-related injuries and deaths, it's impossible to overlook that gun violence has become a public health crisis in our country. In 2020, there was 45,000 gun violence deaths in the United States. I feel that as a local municipality, we can play a role in preventing gun-related injuries and deaths by analyzing city's firearm regulatory processes and policies, including a review of trends in firearm violence, weapon-related incidents here in the city. During the 2016 to 2020, the average annual costs related to firearm injuries and deaths were nearly $1.2 billion in Santa Clara County. This total cost estimate represents the societal costs of firearm assault injury, which include mental health care, criminal justice, mental health lost wages, emergency services, and a decreased quality of life. Tackling gun violence involves a multifaceted approach that includes awareness and addressing the root causes that promote the prevention of gun-related death and trauma. The prevalence of gun violence varies between states in part due to the varied gun laws and disproportionately affects racial and cultural minorities. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there has been 36 mass shootings in the United States. There have been more mass shootings in the U.S. than days in 2023. People of color suffer a disproportionate burden of gun violence. At a national level, we see that Black people are at the highest risk of dying by gunfire, and gun homicides have been found to be highly concentrated in Black and Hispanic or Latino neighborhoods. San Jose is consistent with these national trends, according to the Santa Clara County Public Health Department, that the victims of gun violence are disproportionately African American and Latino. According to the Santa Clara County Public Health Department, Office of Statewide Health Planning and Development, zip codes in the East San Jose region of the county had the highest rate of non-fatal firearm injuries treated in medical facilities during 2011 through 2020. The zip codes with the highest count and rate of fatal firearm injuries were 95116 at 223, followed by 95122 at 155, 95111 at 135 service encounters, and there's my zip code, 95127 at 116 service encounters, and 95112 at 77 service encounters. These zip codes in the East San Jose region, highlighting the interaction of lower socioeconomic factors and the higher prevalence of non-fatal firearm injuries in this area. Appropriately targeted efforts that invest in and support for neighborhoods at a greater risk for involvement in gun violence can save lives. With that being said, I have a couple of questions for staff. The audit mentions that the last gun buyback program hosted by the San Jose Police Department was in 2018. Is there a plan to bring back this program, given that incidents in San Jose involving a firearm have increased by 25%? And if it is an issue with funding, how much was it in the past to fund this program, and where did that funding come from?
Council member, thank you for your question. We actually did some research on gun buyback programs. We've had a few gun buybacks here in San Jose. They are an expensive endeavor. Let me get you the number here. So we look at about $100,000 for each gun buyback, give or take. And the costs of staff hours, overtime to do it, et cetera, costs about $32,000 in the last gun buyback, just to have the personnel to be able to do it outside the patrol structure. Obviously, responding to calls for service are our #1 priority. When we look at the firearms that are collected during gun buybacks, you're looking at 75% of the people who surrender firearms are over the age of 50 years old, and nearly 2/3 of those firearms are secured from within a residence. 2/3 of the people believe their firearm is safer without, or their home is safer without the firearm in their home, things like that. So we have not ruled out gun buyback programs, but these are not the solution to firearm violence in San Jose. The people that turn in the guns tend not to be the people that are using the guns in firearm violence. It does, however, have a secondary and intangible benefit. We're taking firearms off the streets. They're not going to get burglarized in a home burglary. They're not going to get taken from those who own them or have them in their possession. The community feels safer having those guns taken off the streets and collected and disposed of, and that's why they do turn them into us. So gun buyback programs, I mean, there's philosophy on this throughout studies in academia, but really what we're going to look at here for our city is the best, most effective way to combat gun violence in San Jose, and that may or may not be gun buyback programs. So short answer, we haven't ruled them out, but long answer is they're not the ultimate solution we're looking for.
Thank you. One follow-up question. Recommendation 3 states a goal to educate the community about the availability of gun violence restraining orders. Could we broaden this to also include school presentations on gun safety, or is there any work in local schools to focus on teen safety?
We do have the Team Kids program that's in schools. We do have officers that go to schools and do presentations. We do focus a lot of effort on kids in middle and high schools where we're providing them guidance in their future life, right? As far as gun safety goes, we do gun safety presentations in schools. However, this is separate from the idea of a GVRO, education of the public. GVROs are applicable when you have a threat, right? You have someone who has a mental illness and may be suicidal, someone who maybe wants to assault other people. That's when GVROs come into play, and then we'll use those to remove the firearms from their possession in anticipation of them possibly being used. That's different than the teen gun safety programs.
Okay, thank you. My attention with part of the memo
was to make sure that we could get an in-depth analysis to see why weapon-related incidents have gone up in police districts that correlate with 3, 5, 7, and 8, right? Some of our more working class areas here in the city of San Jose. Is it possible to do an analysis to find reasons why this uptick could have occurred?
Yeah, so the last part of your memo, when you asked for the report back to council, we do want to do that analysis, but it's going to take us some time to do that.
Yeah.
We have to look at all the statistics surrounding it, clean it, and then present it. So that's why I asked if it's possible to do it in an informational memo to council so we can do it in one big broadcast instead of just the response to you and the other council member, if that's okay.
Absolutely, and thank you for answering all my questions. Wanted to end on a positive note. I'm thankful to be on the San Jose Youth Empowerment Alliance and look forward to our collaboration for prevention in regards to youth and violence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Foley?
Thank you. Thank you, Joe, for your report and an insightful briefing, as always. Also want to thank San Jose PD for your willingness to address the recommendations made by the city auditor. This is a really timely report, and I know it was triggered by the mass shooting at the VTA. But I want to acknowledge the tragedies that have occurred over the last couple of days in California, Monterey Park in the south, and then just recently in our backyard of Half Moon Bay. Today, multiple communities are filled with grief, outrage, and concern as these two violent attacks disrupted places where everyone should feel free to live, work, and celebrate. And I want to express my condolences to the families, loved ones, and communities that have been affected by these tragedies. Truly, we're talking about gun violence and gun violence restraining orders and how to protect our community from guns, but they are out there, very prevalent, and people are being killed on a daily basis in a mass shooting way, and it's very... just saying my thoughts and prayers are with the families truly is not enough, but it's important to acknowledge that before we can move forward and ensure that we do move forward. I appreciate the gun violence restraining order information and the ability to make that more accessible to our community. Any information that you have for us as a council member or a council office that we could possibly push out in our newsletters, that would be really, really helpful, or on social media. So anything that you can give to us. I also am really glad to hear about the sexual assault cards. We talked about that last year, and I'm really thrilled to hear that they're being distributed, as would Sylvia Reyes, Councilmember Carrasco, who I see in the audience, Councilmember Davis, and Councilmember Esparza, who were all involved in that effort last year when we went through this. So I thank you for those, and I'd love to get some of those cards also to maybe distribute at neighborhood associations if that's possible. We're suffering a mental health crisis, among other things, and we need to make sure that we address that as much as we address gun violence in the homes or in the workplaces and in our communities. So truly, if you see something, you should say something. If you even think, oh man, that person is a little bit sad or a little bit more depressed, reach out to them, because maybe that's what they need, is for you to reach out to them. This is really a sad time in this country, how gun violence is so prevalent, and I think Councilmember Ortiz, for your comments, it's really important. I do want to ask a couple of questions about the local ordinance that we passed last year and is implemented as of January. You probably don't have any statistical data on that yet, but can you give me an idea, Lieutenant Donahue, of how we're enforcing the insurance, and I know we're not working on the fee yet, but the insurance or any other components that are on the books currently?
Thank you, Councilmember, for your question. Yes. Do you mind if I speak on one thing you mentioned earlier?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am.
I didn't give you a chance. I didn't take a breath.
No problem. One of the things you mentioned is giving you information for your newsletters. I think the more ways we can get it out to the community, the more effective we're going to be. So what we'd like to do is get some information together, put it together for you. We can give it to all the council members. You can now put it out in your newsletter on how to obtain these ex parte gun violence restraining orders and when they apply, when they would help the community. Okay, so we'd be happy to do that. The other thing you asked is about how the council can help. We need help getting back into the schools. We need help being in the schools and being integrated into the curriculum so that we can come in and talk about things like gun safety, public safety, everything that we talk about in the schools. As you know, over the last few years, things have kind of swung a little bit with the pendulum, and we'd like some help getting back in there.
I think many of us have connections in our school districts and our schools, and we're happy to help in that regard. I actually spoke to a group of Cub Scouts last week, and we talked about our gun laws and what that meant. And they looked at me very surprised that people actually own guns, but I'm sure there were some in the room who did actually, but they were just aware and happy to have any knowledge. So I'm sure we can all help out with that.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, to talk about the new ordinances that we put into effect, I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Kidwell, who's been the one managing it and implementing it for our department.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members. For the gun harm reduction ordinance, the attestation form, we work closely in the permits unit with the city manager's office and developed that form. That form is available here at City Hall and at the police main lobby. It's also available online on the police department's website. And we have a lot of frequently asked questions that are also posted on there. We have received a lot of questions about insurance and whether or not what type of insurance qualifies for that. And so we've tried to answer those questions through our website, but we also do receive calls and respond to citizens' interest regarding the gun harm reduction attestation form.
Okay, great. So as far as the insurance is concerned, that information is available on the Q&A as to what that means and what a gun owner is supposed to be doing and to be in compliance.
Yes, it identifies your section, whether it's a renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance, what may qualify under that, and give some information to ask their insurance providers.
Okay, thank you. I have a question about the gunshot detection pilot program. How and where is that being deployed? Or do you not want to share it? No.
Well, let me tell you this. We actually just deployed it. I believe we went live yesterday. I think today is the first day that we will receive automatic gunshot detection with our new system. We did do a pilot program last year in the Cadillac Winchester area. We learned a lot during that pilot program, and so now that we've implemented the new gunshot detection system in other areas of San Jose, we implemented those lessons learned. Right now, if a gunshot occurs in the areas where these are deployed, the dispatch will receive a notification immediately, and that call will go out to the officers before any of the public even have a chance to call in. So they will receive the information that a gunshot was detected, where it was detected. It'll be able to geolocate based on triangulation, and then we'll be able to respond faster.
So talk me through this. You're talking to a person who's really a novice in technology. So how does this work? How is the gunshot detection? I mean,
okay,
it's picking up the sound or tell me what's going on.
So think of I'll use, without giving away any technology, you're looking at, say, 3 microphones. When sound travels, it travels a distance over time. When the sound hits the microphone, that microphone knows what time it hit in compared to another microphone, right? And when you compare that to 3 microphones, you can use those speeds and timing of that sound hitting it to triangulate where it came from, okay?
And in real time, the dispatcher is getting that data?
Yes. So when the system collects those sounds and hears a gunshot, it says, hey, that was a gunshot based on decibel ratings and how to detect it. And then it immediately sends a notification to the police department saying, hey, I just detected a gunshot. This is where my computer system says it came from. So heads up, right? That goes to a dispatcher, and that dispatcher puts it out to the officers in the field. Hey, we just received a gunshot notification that over at, say, Cadillac and Winchester, we had, this notification come in. The officers then are able to respond to that area and handle the event prior to anybody saying, hey, that was a gunshot, and then call in and all that information, right? So here are some of the areas that we're deploying it. It's going to be in the area of First and Oak, Clements and Owlsley, Genie and Forestdale, right? Poco and McCreary, Colmar and Story, Roeder and Round Table, and Cadillac and Winchester. So that's where we've deployed the gunshot detection systems currently. Right?
Great,
And
some of our hotspots.
yeah, that's how they were selected,
Right.
is based on the high prevalence of violence. We want it to work, right?
Right. No, that's great. Thank you for that information. I really appreciate that. Helps me understand it and how we're utilizing it. I think that's the end of my questions, and I truly appreciate all your efforts in this regard and the audit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councilmember, and appreciate the point about our newsletters and the content. I think that's a great idea. Let's go to Councilmember Torres.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Donahoe and Chief Mata, and of course our great auditor, Joe. Very thorough audit. Also, a major kudos to our lieutenant for addressing items on the memo that I co-wrote with Councilmember Ortiz. It even caught me off guard, so I guess you effectively wiped out all my questions that I had already. But Councilmember Ortiz also mentioned some of the questions I was going to ask, but I do have some follow-ups, and I do also want to recognize the previous work done by our council members as well, folks who are sitting on this dais and sitting out in the audience or serving on our County Board of Supervisors now. And it's unfortunate. It's just so unfortunate that we're talking about gun violence just days after 3 mass shootings in Northern California. And for me, gun violence is personal. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the neighborhood that I grew up in. I saw gun violence and heard gun violence every single day. Drive-by shootings. First and Oak was a hotspot then when I was growing up, and it continues to unfortunately be a hotspot now. And so guns create tragedies, unfortunately, and we all know that. And we're seeing it, obviously, in the past few days with the attacks of our Asian communities and immigrant communities. And so, for me, I really am concerned about the 25% increase in incidents that we've had. And one of my first questions is going to be, what do you think this is attributed to?
That is a tough question, council member. I can tell you this: we have nationwide had an increase in aggravated assaults. Nationwide, we had an increase in homicides. That doesn't negate the fact that we've had increases here in San Jose, and I can't speculate without looking at the data as to why that is. I think that is the most important thing you're going to get out of what we produce for you in that info memo. You're going to understand where it's happening and what is happening. So I hesitate to say, well, it's related to gang violence. I can't say that. I can't say it's related to domestic violence. I can't say why at this point, but we are going to look at it and provide that information to you.
Great. Thank you, Lieutenant. And I know Councilmember Ortiz touched on this, right? We see the most violence happening in council's districts 3, 5, 7, 8. Well, for those of you who have grown up in the city of San Jose, those have always been areas with any type of violence: gang, guns, drugs, you name it. and that is concerning. And I think that's why many of us in this previous election cycle decided to run, because quite frankly, quite honestly, enough is enough. I saw too many of my friends not make it out of the Washington neighborhood, right? We need to create a pipeline, not into prison or not into a coffin, but into a community college or a trades job or the best university in the world, San Jose State, right? And so that's what we need to create. We need to create pipelines into education. One other question that I have, I noticed that in the audit in page 19, I saw the statistics on how many firearms have been seized by our San Jose Police Department. And my question was, I saw that we've increased, so I would like to know, and I think you hit on it, Lieutenant, I would like to know if they're coming from, traffic stops or busts that our police department may have, or because you see it online, right? Online threats. So do you think you could answer that for me, please?
Certainly. So, by the way, council member, the other pipeline we'd like to see people come into is the police department.
Great, absolutely.
We're hiring, so
Okay.
we'll take anybody from the Washington area.
Yes.
Thank you. So the firearms seized by the police department come in all sorts of different manner. We're looking at proactive police activity, such as a car stop or a search warrant. We're looking at the GVROs and how they come in through these civil orders. But we also have firearms that are captured on events being on viewed and that manner. The problem is that we can't really quantify based on the number right now. What's happening is, anecdotally, I see all the time watch commander entries where officers make a car stop and find a gun. And it's more than I've ever seen before. I've been here 22 years, and I've never seen the number of guns that we're seeing on the streets. It's unbelievable. It's scary that they're out there making car stops, pulling people over, and then they find a gun in the car, underneath the seat of the driver, underneath the seat of the passenger, hidden in the glove box. And it's dangerous, but they're still doing it. They're still pulling over cars. They're still getting the GVROs. They're still doing the search warrants, and I commend them for that. When you look at this number here about what kinds of guns we're seeing a lot more privately manufactured firearms, so much so that we have a crime strategies unit that works at the police department, where we work with the district attorney's office, and a new gun team is being created and formed between the district attorney's office, the district attorney's investigators, Santa Clara County allied agencies, and the San Jose Police Department, where that's their job, is to go find these people who are manufacturing firearms and stop them from doing that, and making these firearms accessible to people who would otherwise not be able to go buy one at a store. So that's where we're seeing a lot more of it nowadays. As I said, it does kind of seem like a pipeline of guns with the privately manufactured firearms. And the other people we're working with are our federal partners through the FBI and the ATF. And we have officers that are assigned to task forces that work very closely with them to find large-scale manufacturing and firearms that way.
Great. I like to know that we're being aggressive and making sure guns are off our streets, whether they're ghost guns or not. Those are the rest of my questions, but I do have my last comment. Please use us. Please use my office. I'm a former school board member. I'm a former rec leader at a local elementary school, and let me tell you, it is not fun when we have a code red. It is not fun when we do a training for code red, and that was one of my biggest fears. Not only as a rec leader in a under-resourced community, but a school board member in a under-resourced community, is getting that phone call of one day happening in our own very own backyard. And I know the VTA yard shooting has happened, but please use us. we are connected to the community. I'm a former school board member. A few of us on here are former school board members that we can connect you with the school districts. So,
thank you, sir.
And that's about it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Dunn.
Lieutenant Kidwell and Lieutenant Donahue, with the most recent events of mass shooting, this is a devastating tragedy for these community, and my heart goes out to these family. And I think that we need to do more in order to reduce the gun violence. And I just want to recognize the fact that the San Jose Police Department have done I think, an incredible job, especially with the recent event, that have reached out to my office and have, have many police officers out there to protect the Tet Festival and other community. And I just want to recognize the San Jose Police Department for doing that. And I ask that please use our resource in order to reach out to the constituent. And I believe that all of us here knows that we will support the police department in resource, finance, and timeline to accomplish your task. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, the police department, for the work you've done, and thank Joe and your office for the audit. This council has spent a lot of time in the last few years discussing ways to improve the safety in our community and mitigate gun violence, and I know we'll continue to look for creative solutions and things we can do collectively to solve that problem. So I'll go ahead and move acceptance of the audit report.
Great, thank you. Just quickly before we take that vote, my team noticed in conversation that there may be an issue with the form that's causing us to have to reissue GVROs more frequently than the 5 years that would be required. Can you speak to that, and is that an easy fix for us?
I turned it off. Yes, as a matter of fact, we have a new GVRO form that was put into effect by Santa Clara County Courts on January 1st of this year. And we just did a training bulletin that was sent department-wide on Friday of last week that got everybody up to speed for new emergency protective restraining orders and gun violence restraining order forms.
Great, so that's no longer an issue.
Correct, sir.
Great, okay. I see hands, is that right? Okay, Councilor Torres is up next.
Sorry, Mayor. Is this the point where I move the memo of Councilmember Ortiz or?
We have a motion on the floor. You could ask for a friendly amendment. We can work that out on the dais here.
All right. Well, for
the just to clarify, the motion on the floor is to adopt the staff recommendation.
All right. The friendly amendment be adopting the memo that myself and Councilmember Ortiz wrote.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think we heard from the PD how they would address those items, so I'll accept the friendly amendment.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Coy.
And I'll just check with staff, and sorry, the seconder, is that okay with you? Okay, friendly amendment accepted. I do just want to, as a courtesy, ask staff, were you comfortable with it as worded, or did you want any modification?
Yeah, if you're okay with an info memo, we're perfect.
Great, okay, so I think sounds like we have consensus on that. Wonderful, okay, let's vote.
And who was the second?
Vice Mayor.
We didn't hear you.
Wonderful. Okay.
That's unanimous.
Thanks, Tony. Great. We are on to item 6.1, long-term renewable energy and resource adequacy contracts, and I believe we have a presentation. And we're going to try to be as efficient as possible, knowing that we have what I believe is going to be a lengthy special meeting later today.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the public, Kip Harkness, Deputy City Manager, I want to start out with a little bit of context before we dive in quickly to this presentation. Starting with the launch of San Jose Clean Energy as a department in 2019, the city's role in energy has rapidly expanded. The state set us on a path for 100% renewable by 2045, and then recently the City Council set an even higher goal of 100% carbon-free energy production by 2030. In pursuit of this goal, the team, led by Lori Mitchell, has made great progress, including at 95% greenhouse gas-free energy production. San Jose Clean Energy is the national leader in clean energy production for a city of our size. They've also developed an integrated resource plan that puts us on a path to acquiring up to an additional 1,288 megawatts of clean power. They are putting in place a $180 million operating reserve to cover 180 days of expenses, which will solidify the fiscal position of the department and allow it to deal with the volatility inherent in the energy market. The actions you will hear today will bring forward 4 agreements that are part of this ambitious plan and satisfy the CPUC requirements for increased midterm reliability. I want to say that in addition, the department is working hard at exploring new opportunities in energy, including potential municipal electrical utility for downtown West, opportunities created by the new Inflation Reduction Act, changes in clean energy tax, launching an electric vehicle charging pilot to fill equity gaps in EV charging access, and developing recommended future programs to be funded by community energy, including aligning with critical infrastructure needs such as microgrids for resilience and electrification of our own city fleet of 2,800 plus vehicles. This body of complex work puts an extraordinary pressure on our small and highly talented team. Therefore, a core task over the coming year is to build the team's capacity and adjust policy to strengthen implementation and lower risk. This will include adding priority positions during this fiscal year, which is already underway, strengthening the cross-departmental team coordination, including finance and city attorney's office with a clear work plan based on your direction, revising the municipal code to better meet operational needs and mitigate risk, and developing future budget requests related to the cross-departmental team. I share all of this to put the item we are bringing forward today into context. These 4 agreements are valued at $640 million over the lifetime, but they are pieces of an even larger and more complex puzzle. Over the next several months, we will be bringing to you additional pieces of this puzzle and recommendations for revision to policy, budget, and team composition to set the city up for success in its clean energy future. I will now turn it over to Lori Mitchell and the team to walk you through the details of today's actions.
Thank you, Kip. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Lori Mitchell, Director of Community Energy, and very pleased today to be joined by Jean Soleil. She's our Deputy Director of Power Supply, and Prachi Avanchi, she's our Division Manager for Contracts and Risk Management. And Risk Management. As Kip noted, we do have a number of renewable projects that are already constructed and in operation, and here you can see some of the photos of these very impressive projects. So far, we have over 500 megawatts of new resources that we've added to the portfolio, and these recommendations today increase that portfolio. It's important to note that one of the driving factors for our recommendation today is to meet our state regulatory requirements. Back in the summer of 2021, the state did direct us to buy 247 megawatts of new renewables. We've met most of those requirements, but we are still deficient in projects that will come online in 24 and 25. So for 24, today's recommendation will help us meet this requirement along with Council's past approvals. And then in 2025, we do need a little bit more capacity to come online. Today's recommendation, happy to report, will help us meet that requirement along with Council's past approved projects. So to put this into context, as Kip mentioned, this is what we plan to add to the portfolio over the next decade. The blue line are projects that are already operating and constructed. The yellow bar is what we have to add to meet the state's regulatory requirements. The gray is what we need to add to meet state law, and then the green is what we need to add to meet our own city's carbon neutrality requirements. So with that, I'll get into the details of the projects we're recommending today. So the first one is a solar and storage project developed by a company called NextEra. They're a very large global company that develops these projects. The annual cost on the first one is just over $15 million, or about 3.7% of our annual power supply portfolio cost. Importantly, this project will power about 40,000 homes here in San Jose, and very proud to report that they are investing $250,000 into the community. Typically, we have programmed these types of funds to fund workforce development, such as Work to Future. The next project is also by NextEra. This is a battery storage project. The annual cost is $3.87 million, just under 1% of our annual power supply budget. Again, this project will power about 40,000 homes for 4 hours. I'm proud to report that they are investing $50,000 into the community that we can program toward programs like Work to Future. A little bit about NextEra. They're the world's largest generator of renewable projects. They operate over 25 gigawatt worldwide. The next project is a solar and storage project developed by a company called Long Road. This project is located in Arizona, will be delivered into California. The annual cost is $11.2 million. That's just under 3% of our annual portfolio costs, and it will power about 24,000 homes. A little bit about Long Road. They've been operating since 2016, and they have successfully completed just under 2 gigawatts of operating projects across the United States. And then finally, excited to recommend another battery storage project that will come online in 2024. Its annual cost is just under $500,000, about 0.1% of our annual power portfolio costs, and it will power about 8,400 homes annually. And so with that, we're happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Really exciting to see all those storage contracts in particular coming forward. Thanks so much. Let's go to public comment.
Hold on, I need to unshare. I can't see that. Okay, Stephen. Stephen Lee. Okay, hold on. Moving on to Sandra. Sandra? Okay, I'm going to move to Paul Soto. Sorry, Paul.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I got 3 words for you: lithium, nickel, and cobalt. Now, those 3 minerals are going to be the resources that is going to go into, is going to be necessary to go into these batteries. Now, whoever has those resources, those particular lands and governments, which not all of them are here in the United States, the majority of them are in South America. They're in Argentina, they're in Chile is the primary, and Peru. So what you're going to start seeing, just so that you can accept responsibility for it, okay, because you're not going to stop it. I know this machine is going to keep going, but you have to accept the moral and ethical responsibility for instituting these policies, is that wars are going to be started in those countries, and we're going to use United States Marines, United States Army, Air Force, all the resources that we have as a country in order to corrupt those governments and to go down into these governments and kill in order to secure control over those resources. So while you really pride yourselves on being such moral and ethical and responsibly concerned about the environment, what about the countries and the citizens that are going to be killed using the United States Army to do it, to secure the resources, to create this utopian electrical, responsible, renewable storage society that you guys talk about so eloquently here? You're going to have to take the responsibility for it. And that's why the minute orders are so important, that they reflect these public comments, so that historians know that you were held to account and you were made fully aware of what it is, the responsibility that you had, and that you failed in it. Because you're just going to say, next item. That's what you're going to do. Thank you.
Sandra?
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Very interesting report. I had some questions, which I'm sure won't be answered here, but which I think the council should ask. We recently had a fire in a battery storage system down in Moss Landing. Those fires and another one that also occurred in Arizona can be extremely difficult to put out and produce a significant amount of pollution. So I would like to have some type of research done or report at some point on the protection for these facilities. The second item that we should be asking questions about is the carbon footprint for manufacturing, mining, and building these systems as well. Thank you.
Back to council.
Great, thank you. Just before going to my colleagues, I see about 6 hands up, so not in any way trying to rush anyone, but I do just want to remind everybody that as exciting as resource adequacy is, we do have quite a bit to get through later today. So with that, Councilmember Jimenez.
Geez, I don't even want to ask a question.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm still going to ask. I'm curious, Lori, if you can just touch on, so these are contracts, and we already have, I think, 247 megawatts sort of purchased, but what do we only pay if we actually get the energy? So for example, if there's a challenge with actually procuring the energy in Arizona or Nevada and we don't get it, we don't pay? How does that work?
Yeah, that is correct. All of our power purchase agreements are structured that way, so they have to deliver the energy and then we pay them 30 days after that delivery period.
Okay, and then the ones you went over don't include, obviously, because I read it and I saw it, doesn't include hydropower. Is there anything in the 247 megawatt already purchased that includes hydropower at all? I don't know if we're precluded from even doing that, but I'm just trying to.
Yeah, no, we're not precluded from doing that. If we could find hydropower, new resources in California, we would certainly procure it. Those resources are very hard to find, especially on the timeline that the state is requiring us to add these resources, because there's a lot of environmental permitting that has to occur to site a new large hydro plant.
Okay, the reason I ask is just noticing the Nevada and Arizona, for example, Maricopa and Clark County. I know that a lot of there's I think a 7-state compact for the Colorado River to derive power down from there. And I was just curious, there's a lot of conservation efforts that are going to minimize the amount of water, hence potentially creation of energy, electricity. And wondering if you think that's going to have any effect related to some of the power we anticipate receiving from some of these folks, even though I know it's solar and wind and.
Yeah, no, I don't anticipate it having impacts on the ability to construct these projects, but certainly the lack of water available has limited hydropower generation in California and in other states. You might recall in our early years at startup, we were able to source some hydro from the Pacific Northwest. That's very hard to find now because they are retaining it to meet their own carbon neutrality goals and just to meet their own load, because they've also been hit by a drought up there.
Okay, all right, thank you. And I'll move approval.
Great. I have a second from Councilmember Cohen. Thanks for talking fast. Excellent. We're on to Councilmember Ortiz.
Mr. Mayor, I'll do my best to talk fast. Thank you, Mayor, and I want to thank staff regarding this extremely important work that you all are embarking on. Climate change is an issue that impacts all of us, regardless of income, race, or culture, and it's our responsibility as council members to steward this conversation, protect it, to make sure that it continues to ensure that we have a healthy environment to pass on to, our next generation. Our planet and the environment is our number one resource, and that's how I see it, and you have my support in this effort. My question is identifying who needs to be a part of this conversation that may not be at the table at this moment. And that is, local residents. I have a lot of trades and construction workers in District 5 who may be losing their job, due to as we move away towards renewable energy. And that, as I mentioned, I support it, right? But job loss is something that we have to prepare for, and we need to be strategic. And so that goes into my question: how are we preparing for this issue? Are we planning on doing a job loss analysis? And how can we make sure to have a big enough table so all stakeholders are part of the conversation?
Yeah, those are really good, thoughtful comments and questions, and it's something we are very focused on. I will say with these contracts, we're really proud that the developers are providing additional funding for community investment, and that is something that we've been successful at getting funding for And in the past, we've directed those dollars to work to future programs for job training and workforce development. And so that's something we'll continue to focus on. But you raised some very important issues, particularly, I know, as we discussed with some of the unions. And so we will commit to doing additional outreach to make sure that, we are facilitating that job training and understanding their concerns.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Some of these jobs are life-sustainable jobs. These are individuals who, were working class, built their life, raised their families on these salaries. So I think the conversation is important. I really appreciate your openness to make sure we have a wide enough table to have that conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, Council Member. We're on to Council Member Torres.
Thank you so much, Lori, for providing me all your answers to the questions that I have. So just wanted to put it out there that I've been having ongoing conversations with Lori and her team, and they were so great at answering my questions that I don't have any questions at the dais now. So thank you.
It's even more efficient than I thought. All right, Councilmember Down.
Thank you, Lori, for entertaining us with lots of these information. I know that the Diablo plant is being decommissioned. What is the negative outcome of that, and how does that affect the cost of energy that you're being bought from other area?
Yeah, that's a really good question, council member. So the state regulatory requirements that we are trying to meet with these recommendations really were developed because the state is losing some of their generating resources, namely Diablo Canyon, which is the state's last nuclear plant. That plant was supposed to come offline in 2024 and 2025. It was extended last summer because the state is worried about not having enough generating resources to meet the need in California. That being said, the state is still requiring us to add replacement resources because they still expect to eventually retire that nuclear power plant. In terms of how the costs compare, these resources are less costly than Diablo. Diablo is a very expensive plant, mostly due to all the decommissioning work that needs to be done there.
Just last question. Do we have any plan on using wind power like out there on the Altamont?
Yes, very proud to report that half of the 500 megawatts we have under a contract is actually from wind. There's a very large wind project from one of our contracts that's actually located in New Mexico. It's delivered into California, and that plant is operating now. So very proud to have that as part of our portfolio, and we continue to seek out other wind projects here in the state. So we'll likely bring forward additional recommendations on that.
Thank you, Lori, and your team.
Great, thanks, Council Member. Since it came up in public comment and not in the discussion, can we get maybe 60 seconds on your understanding of the safety and reliability of lithium-ion batteries as a storage solution?
Yeah, again, that is an important question. When these resources are permitted, that's something that the local agencies that are permitting the projects spend a lot of time looking at. There is experience now with lithium ion. We're learning a lot more about the requirements to make them safer, making sure that the components are sufficiently spaced. So that's definitely something that the local authorities are paying a lot of attention to, and we pay a lot of attention to make sure that people comply with their permits.
Great, thanks for that. And just to be really clear, while that is we have instances of challenges there, we're always protected through our contracts from any kind of financial or other risk associated with a battery failure as well.
Yes, we are protected, and as Councilmember Jimenez pointed out, if the project doesn't perform because of any performance issue, we don't pay for any energy that they don't deliver. So exactly. We are protected. We are also protected from the liability. They are solely responsible for the operation and maintenance of those projects.
Great, thank you. Okay, see no other hands. Let's vote.
Sorry, I thought I pressed the next one, but it's It doesn't feed to anything else, so yeah, it'll record properly.
Okay. Thanks, Tony. We are on to item 6.2, the 2022 Urban Community Drought Relief Grant Program. There's no presentation on this one.
Move approval.
Second.
Great. Let's go to public comment.
I have no hands up.
Okay. Seeing no hands from my colleagues, why don't we vote?
God, I heard her.
Okay.
Unanimous?
Thank you. We are on to item 6.3. This is actions related to the issuance of a non-exclusive franchise agreement to Redwood Services Incorporated related to clean out material and construction and demolition debris. I believe we need to open a public hearing. Do we begin with that?
Yes, so you open the public hearing and we'll go to Paul Soto.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. When I go to the Planning Commission meetings, one of the issues that comes up all the time is they use a certain type of language, but what it basically means is that when you're starting to dig into the ground and you're tearing it up and just ripping into the earth, it puts out a lot of toxins into the community. And especially the most vulnerable are the workers. Now, the workforce that primarily is going to do all of these building and demolition, we already know who it is, man. The backbone of the construction industry in this city is the Mexicano, the Chicano, and the Latino communities. That's who it is. And so I really want to caution. They're saying specifically that we can't avoid the fact that cancer-causing illnesses are going to result from this digging up, from these demolitions, from this construction work. This is the language that we can't avoid. And it doesn't say that it may happen, that it might happen. It's a declarative statement. It's saying specifically that this is going to happen and that it's just unavoidable. And so because it's unavoidable that these people are going to be exposed to cancer-causing agents, well, let's just go ahead and do it. Because it's the Mexicans and the Chicanos and the Latinos that are going to be doing the work anyway. So who cares about them? Dillabo doesn't certainly care about them. Neither does Eric Hayden or Swenson. So we really need to be careful. I mean, very careful, man, because we're not only dehumanizing the people that we're exposing to these dangerous cancer-causing agents, we're dehumanizing ourselves because we don't have any kind of moral or ethical standard by which we protect our most vulnerable citizens. And those are the ones that are tearing up the earth. And
back to the council.
Thank you. Okay, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, let's vote. Okay.
The motion passes unanimously.
Great. We are at the end of the agenda for our regular meeting. As a reminder, we will be adjourning for 10 minutes to help staff set up for the special meeting. We are going to move to open forum, as is our practice, but I just want to remind everyone, we will then recess for 10 minutes and come back for a special meeting on the appointment process. So open forum should be about anything not on today's agenda. And why don't we go to the public?
E. Jimenez with USWW, here in person. And I do want to remind anybody on Zoom, this open forum is for anything not on today's agenda or on the next meeting, the special election. We're going to hold those comments during that particular meeting.
Test. Can you hear me? Great. Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Eric Jimenez, and I'm a security officer with Allied Universal, contracted by the Department of Transportation and a member of the United Service Workers West SEIU. I have worked with San Jose Parking Ambassador in garage operation and security teams for over 5 years. I'm here today representing roughly 30 who have signed a public letter asking the City Council to support good union jobs for security officers who are contracted by the City of San Jose. Next Tuesday, the 31st, the Council will vote to finalize awarding the contract work under and several others to a non-union company. Bringing in a non-union company would deny me and nearly 100 other allied security officers across the city the union benefits and protections that officers have fought for years to win. This union is important to me because I get to be a part of a growing and reliable work culture. I want to continue to uphold a proper work environment that offers a reliable chance to continue to aspire for a better life both in and outside of a work environment. The benefits of a union will offer a manageable means for individuals to receive care in a concise way to prepare reliable employees. Through the course of my time here, I have gained more insight into what influences others to perform better at work. Job security guarantee is crucial in our area because unforeseeable situations such as natural disasters or rent displacement can end up relocating some employees. We want options. I appreciate your courtesy so far. We support the intent of the city's zero tolerance wage theft policy, but we believe that if the city truly wants to protect its contracted workers from wage
Thank you.
theft,
Lucila Ortiz.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Lucila Ortiz. I'm the Political Director with Working Partnerships USA. And I'm here because I want to stand in solidarity with the security officers at the San Jose Airport and urge you to choose a union contractor for their security services. The city is currently considering hiring a non-union company, and this will strip workers of the protections that they have under the collective bargaining agreement. We believe that it's in the interest of the city to ensure that it is recruiting and retaining staff. And the San Jose Airport security requires unique and ongoing training, and taking away rights and benefits from workers who perform this critical work does not serve the city the need to retain qualified workers. And so I hope that you will take the right steps in the next council meeting. Thank you for your time.
Paul Soto.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe, Raising the Flag Council. We need a very specific, clear date, and here's why. The removal of this statue is the ending, is the culmination of a 36-year fight. And this is a story about the Mexicano and the Chicano community continuing the fight of their elders. And our elders were vindicated the moment that the mayor had declared that the statue be removed and that it is no longer a part of the fabric or the character of this city. So what I'm asking you is that this is a very critical part of Chicano history, California history, and United States history, and of course, San Jose history. So I'm asking the council and the mayor to afford us that. It's been a year along. We already know that it's in Public Works. We already know that information. We want a concrete date because this is a celebration. This is a celebration. We took on City Hall, and whoever said you can't fight City Hall, we proved them wrong. On the dice ourselves, we have Councilman Ortiz, who he had his own personal issues with these symbols of colonization. He won himself, so I'm sure he understands. He gets the fight. And so I would really like a concrete date. And I would also like a celebration around this. Maybe not a celebration, but just simply an acknowledgement of the genocidal practices that flowed from the placement of that flag. I think this would be a step towards really healing and amending the same kind of atrocities that Councilman Cohen spoke about within the Jewish community. I'd like some of that too, some of that acknowledgement of the
Jose Pavon.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jose Luis Pavon, and I am a political organizer with SCIU USWW. I want to echo some of the comments that was made by one of our members earlier, Eric Jimenez, in asking the council to please protect union jobs for security contractors that work under the security contract of the city of San Jose. I know that, one of the discussions earlier was the concern with violence, and it is statistically proven that nothing stops a bullet better than a job. And I think one of the issues that is not being addressed is that is a really unsustainable skyrocketing cost of living, high rate of inflation, and now we're starting to see layoffs from the recession. Now, economic history teaches us that violence goes up when unemployment goes up. And so I urge you to please protect union jobs. Please protect the financial sustainability of private sector security officers and janitors that are hired subcontracted through the city of San Jose. It's in the best interest of fair labor standards. It's in the best interest of maintaining moral and ethical standards within the city of San Jose, and it's in the best interest of maintaining peace and a harmonious city. Thank you very much.
Hyrika Kamei. Okay, back to the council.
Great, thank you, Tony. So again, just a reminder, we will adjourn from the regular meeting. We'll be back in 10 minutes for the special meeting, and with that, this meeting is adjourned.